everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bulletproof Hygiene podcast. Happy New Year. In rightful New Year's fashion, today's episode is going to be along the lines of New Year's resolutions, what it looks like to create resolutions, how to keep them, and make sure that next year we can kind of look back and reflect on this year and say, oh, wow, look at me, and look back on our success from keeping commitments to ourselves, which always feels amazing. So I hope you had lovely holidays. I hope you had a wonderful New Year celebration, and I hope that you are all ready to go for whatever you have resolved to do in the new year. And I'm going to follow that wish and hope up with some actual information by professors of psychology, by Deepak Chopra. So stay tuned. So there's this first article is by Tracy Sinclair. She is in Anchorage, Alaska, and she interviews psychology professor at University of Alaska, Anchorage. He's Professor Robert Boakman. So this is their interview. So she says, New Year's resolutions fall in and out of fashion like many things, but gyms are oftentimes suddenly packed, as we know, on January 1st. In an already stress-filled world, does it make sense to make New Year's resolutions? I would say the answer is a tentative yes, and that's Professor Boakman. Boakman explained that studies show only about 46% of people who make New Year's resolutions claim to be successful, which means, more than half aren't, he says. If you go a little deeper, people who want to change but don't make the decision to actually make the resolution, only 4% of those people actually make the change. So on balance, it's definitely worth it to make a New Year's resolution if you're serious about changing. Boakman said that some people experience less success with following through on resolutions by making spur-of-the-moment changes that attempt to fix everything all at once. You don't pack 5 or 6 resolutions, you pick 1 or 2, and best only 1, he says. He also said to really think about the change you want to make. Strong attitudes have lots of supporting beliefs, but sometimes people haven't really thought about it much. They have, they've thought to themselves, oh yeah, it's a good idea to stop drinking or cut back on drinking, or it's a good idea to use my cell phone less, and that's about it. There's not too much thought. There's not too much in the thought category there, Boakman says. But if they spend the weeks approaching New Year's Eve in contemplation, like what are all the good reasons why I should engage in this change? And then also examine feelings. What do I feel about this change? Am I afraid of it? Do I think it's a good idea? And so on and so forth. If you have mixed feelings, that's a less strong attitude than if you have consistent feelings. After all, he says, resolutions are about being resolute. You have to want to make the change. It's very difficult to change. I mean, that's stating the obvious, right? Boakman says. He says, be ready for setbacks and plan to fail. One of the things that happens, and these are the people who fall into that didn't make it group, is they engage in some kind of catastrophic thinking like, oh, I didn't go to the gym this week, or, oh, I had a beer and I meant to cut that out and then I failed. This I knew I couldn't do it kind of attitude is present, and then they give in and quit trying to reach their goals thinking maybe next year. So it's better to plan to have some setbacks and then use those setbacks as an opportunity to learn instead of being caught off guard and giving up at the first sight of struggle or imperfection. Studies show one of the best ways to succeed is to write about it. I would say there's plenty of psychological evidence to support this. Keeping a journal or writing things down is important, Boakman says. In that journal, write how you're doing. You're reflecting on yourself, like what progress have I made this week? What setbacks did I have? What did I learn from my setbacks? And just really keep a conscious engagement of it throughout the year, kind of checkbacks. It's very important to acknowledge that we're not perfect, acknowledge that we're going to stumble and struggle, and that's what helps us to move forward. In Forbes, Stephanie Wells, the founder of Formidable Forms, a drag and drop form builder for WordPress that empowers freelancers to create form-based solutions, says, if you made a promise to yourself to stick to your resolutions this year, how is it going so far? The idea of New Year's resolutions has been around for a while. It's time to start fresh, create concrete goals, and contemplate the next steps of your life. It can be a great motivator for people to finally get around to doing things they've always wanted to do and commit to taking the needed actions to achieve those goals. But what if you struggle to commit to your goals consistently throughout the year? For many, this is exactly the case. If you want to reach success by committing to your New Year's resolutions, here are a few simple ways to get started. The first way is to break down your goals. If you take on too much too soon, you'll overwhelm yourself before you have the chance to start. It's great to want to commit to big goals, but if you struggle to maintain them, they don't serve a purpose. When creating any type of goal, you want to break it down into smaller steps. As you break down your bigger goals into smaller ones, get as specific as you can. Instead of aiming to lose weight, choose a specific number and time limit for that achievement. It's easier to hold yourself accountable and stick to an objective when you know exactly what you need to achieve. It helps to start with the end goal and work your way back. For example, let's say your end goal is to create a lucrative online business. That's a pretty general goal that doesn't give you much to work with in terms of what you need to do to get there. But you can set a smaller goal, such as creating a business website, to start your entrepreneurial journey. It's easy to tell yourself that you'll stick to the plan and get where you want to be, but it's another ball game to create and follow a plan designed to help you achieve your goals and live the life you dream about. The next thing is to appreciate the process. Often people get so caught up in the hardship that comes with progress that they fail to appreciate the experience. But without practicing gratitude, you won't be able to learn from your mistakes and use them as a guide for what not to do in the future. Accomplishing any goal isn't easy. It takes consistency, perseverance, and lots of hard work. There's no easy way to achieve something that's worth doing. You simply have to do it. Although it's difficult and can at times push you to your limits, it's important to remain grateful. Many people don't get to do the things they want to do. If you're able to go after your dreams and turn your goals into reality, be thankful for that opportunity. Keeping a gratitude journal is a great way to practice thankfulness and remember the reasons it's important to keep going. The next way we can stay accountable to our goals and New Year's resolutions is to create a support system. When striving to reach your goals, it helps to have support around you. Those who are aware of your plans can help you stick to them so you cross the finish line. It's also a great way to hold yourself accountable when working hard is the last thing you want to do. Whether you share similar goals or not, having supportive people in your life to cheer you on makes all the difference. You can also create a buddy system where you and a friend update and encourage each other's goals and progress. When you can share your accomplishments with others, it's extra motivation to keep pushing to see the final results. For many people, it's challenging to stick to New Year's resolutions. Only a few weeks in, people tend to abandon their goals and fail to reach the place they want to be. But by following some of these tips and the tips I'm about to talk about, you should be able to stick to your resolutions and see them come true. So at Chopra.com, as in Deepak Chopra, Carson McGinley writes about how we can harness the kind of not skill, but I guess it is kind of a skill to learn how to use accountability and set up accountability partners and processes in our lives to keep us on the right track when a goal involves longer than like a day or a week. Like when we're looking at an entire next year, we've got to break those goals down into smaller little pieces and steps, obviously. But then how are we going to stay accountable? Our feelings change a lot. Our motivation changes constantly. You know, there are lots of ups and downs. There's lots of bumps in the road. There are a lot of things that can become more pressing, you know, on the journey to reaching our goals or feel or appear more pressing. And it's good to have kind of external validation and eyes outside of your current situation, I think, when we're trying to reach any goal. So this next part is all about how to set up success via setting up accountability partners. So plenty of people set goals, but far fewer are actually willing to declare their goals in a way that sets them up for success. Simply thinking about goals, as we know, won't yield results. There's one critical component of bringing a desired goal to fruition, and that's accountability. So consider this scenario. Your alarm goes off at 5:30 a.m. It's your intention to go to the gym, but it's raining outside and your bed is extremely cozy. In which of the following situations are you more likely to actually make it to your workout? Situation 1, you have an exercise buddy who will be meeting you at the gym at 6 o'clock. Number 2, you didn't tell anyone you were planning on exercising this morning, and no one but you will know if you hit the snooze button 3 or more times. It's a no-brainer. Obviously, you chose scenario 1 because someone is holding you accountable to your actions. Studies have shown that when you share your goals with others, you're twice as likely to achieve them than if you keep the goals to yourself. For the same reason, exercise buddies and personal trainers can help you to follow through on your workout goals. Accountability when goal setting is one of the most accountability when goal setting is one of the most crucial elements to your success. So what is accountability? When it comes to goal setting, accountability means being held responsible for the achievement of your goals. The word sometimes has a negative connotation, as if accountability implies blame or judgment. However, when seen as a way of tracking success, accountability can create a sense of ownership and pride that often leads to great triumph, enhancing your ability to achieve your desired outcomes. Why accountability works. When you hold yourself accountable to your goals, you are communicating to the universe and yourself that the goal is a priority. It's not just something that may or may not get done. If you don't share your goals in some way, you aren't truly committing to them. It's too easy to give up because it's like they never really existed. Another reason accountability works is because it can motivate you to save face. It's human nature to care about your reputation and to fulfill your loved ones' expectations of you. Do they see you as a person with integrity or someone who's flaky? You also feel motivated to avoid being called out when you mess up. In the first scenario, the friend waiting in the parking lot of the gym is going to be pretty mad if you stand her up. On the other hand, if you pick the right type of accountability partner, they will actually encourage you when the going gets tough. Everyone needs a cheerleader sometimes to remind you of your potential for greatness. So 5 types of accountability. There are many types of accountability, and depending on the type of goal you have and your unique personality, some will work better than others. Try out some or all of the following strategies. Number 1, tell a friend. Share your goals with someone who loves you, who will ask you about your goals, support you in achieving them, and celebrate with you when you do. Picking the right person is crucial, though, because anyone who could potentially judge you or become overly competitive with your progress could actually sabotage your success. The ideal accountability partner is someone who supports you and your goals completely and wholeheartedly. Number 2, join an accountability group. Joining or creating an accountability group can help you accomplish what you often can't do on your own. If you've ever participated in a book club, you know that gathering with others to discuss the latest novel makes it far more likely that you'll find the time to read it. If you want to write more, for example, join a writing group that expects you to write 2,000 words a week. Are you an amateur chef? Join a cooking group and support each other in trying 7 new recipes a month. As a social creature, you can help others accomplish just about anything and vice versa. Look to your church community, workplace, or yoga studio for people who might be interested in joining forces, or on sites like Meetup to find like-minded people who want to get together for motivation. 3, use your technology. There are plenty of apps and websites that have been created specifically to help with accountability by either offering reminders and tracking systems or by connecting you with other people who are also trying to complete similar goals. Sites like Mint for money management and apps like Health App to track nutrition, exercise, and mindfulness are great tools for keeping track of your productivity. If you'd rather interact with other people, I Done This and Whole Life Challenge bring people together virtually from all over the world in a network of support for goals of every size. Number 4, hire a coach. The coaching business has increased in popularity lately, and for good reason. Coaches get paid to assist you in clarifying your goals, to hold you to a reasonable timeline, and to help develop strategies for overcoming obstacles that get in the way of achieving the final outcome. Plus, you're more likely to try to get your money's worth if you've invested someone to help you. One of the defining characteristics of coaching is that it creates a measuring tool for action and a means for reporting on self-learning. Good coaches never judge, scold, or blame. They simply help you realize what works and what doesn't when it comes to the commitments you make to yourself. 5, write it down. For some people, simply writing their goals down on paper is enough to move the dream into reality. Written promises to yourself can strengthen the internal fortitude needed to complete a challenging task. Posting reminders and checklists in a visible location like a daily planner, a wall calendar, or a note on the desktop of your computer can be an effective motivator for follow-through. So find a support system, hold yourself accountable, and see what happens. It could be just the thing you need to create positive change in your life. We all need help meeting our goals and remembering why we are striving to change and evolve in the first place. So one thing I highly recommend doing is writing about how it will feel to meet your goal. How will your life change? Write about what might get in the way of meeting your goal, such as lack of finances, emotional support, tiredness, lack of motivation, etc. And write about how you're going to prepare in advance for continuing forward, even when we face these challenges and difficulties. These are some of the things that have helped me reach goals most effectively in the past. I wish you all a happy new year, and please remember to share your New Year's resolutions with a buddy to stay on track. If you're on our Mighty Network page, or even if you're not, you can join us by downloading the Mighty Network app and searching Bulletproof Hygiene. We would love to hear about your personal or work-related New Year's resolutions and how your progress is going throughout the year. It's important to stay connected to achieve those goals. Thank you so much for listening to Bulletproof Hygiene, and have a great week.